Hello and welcome back to Global English Podcast, the place where we break down English for you. I'm your host, Jordan.
And I'm Taylor. Good to see you, everyone.
So if you're an English learner, you know this feeling. I mean, it's the single most frustrating feeling in the world.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Yeah. You've studied for years. You've got the top 5,000 words memorized. You can probably read Shakespeare.
Right.
But the minute a native speaker opens their mouth, it sounds like one long, rapid, confusing buzz. The individual words just poof, gone.
That is the fluency gap.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a massive, massive roadblock for B1 and B2 learners.
Exactly.
You feel exhausted because you're trying to translate everything word by word. But native speakers, we aren't using single words.
We're not. What are we using?
We're communicating in these large, prepackaged linguistic units.
Yeah.
Things like idiomatic chunks and phrasal verbs.
Okay, and the consequence of all that effort, that word-for-word translation, is just exhaustion. You start feeling burned out, like you're doing all this hard work, but you're not making any real progress.
You hit a wall.
So today we are going to dive deep into two really critical areas. First, how to build your linguistic resilience so you don't give up.
Which is so important.
And second, we are providing a complete blueprint for sounding natural and fast using these advanced techniques like chunking and shadowing.
We've gone through the sources to give you the most powerful vocabulary, the idioms of endurance, the phrasal verbs you actually need for the workplace. And we're also going to talk about the cognitive science behind why these techniques work.
I love that. But before we unlock that blueprint, I've got a little teaser for you.
Okay.
We're going to teach you a technique called thought chunking, and it will completely revolutionize your listening skills. So we'll give you a pop quiz later. What is the single most important word you should listen for in a thought chunk? Stay tuned to find out, because mastering this concept is, the genuine shortcut to sounding fluent.
It really is. It changes everything about comprehension.
It does. But before we jump in, let's take care of business. If you are listening right now and you want more deep dives just like this one, please take 2 seconds.
Just 2 seconds.
Subscribe to Global English Podcast and like this episode right now. It really helps us keep the content flowing. Okay, let's start with that mental struggle, the burnout.
Let's do it.
Everyone listening has felt this. That moment when opening your textbook feels physically painful.
Yes.
You start off so strong, you're studying for hours, and then months later you stop. What is the technical, clinical definition of that feeling we call burnout?
That feeling is precisely burnout.
Yeah.
And it's a specific pathology. It's not just, feeling tired.
Ah, okay.
Material we looked at defines it as a state of mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. And it's caused by prolonged, unrelieved stress.
Prolonged and unrelieved.
Yes, in an environment like a demanding language learning routine. It's a systemic shutdown.
That distinction, prolonged, unrelieved stress, that feels really key. So how can we use a simple analogy to separate standard fatigue or stress from true burnout?
Okay, let's stick with a driving analogy. It works really well here.
Okay.
If you're stressed, you're driving your car too fast. You're burning fuel at a rate you can't sustain.
Yeah.
But you are still moving.
Right, you're getting somewhere, just maybe too quickly.
Exactly. And if you stop for a rest, you can refuel. Burnout, on the other hand, is when you've ignored all the warning lights for so long that the gas tank is completely empty and the engine is seized up.
Wow.
You don't just slow down, you've crashed completely. And you require significant repair time.
So if normal stress is that short-term, fight or flight feeling, what's the emotional difference when that stress becomes burnout?
Stress can sometimes be motivating,
Yeah.
It makes you focused, sharp for a short deadline.
Sure.
But when that stress transitions into burnout, the emotional landscape it shifts entirely. Our sources note that burnout is characterized by these overwhelming feelings of hopelessness, cynicism, helplessness, and detachment.
Detachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stop thinking, I must finish this task, and you start thinking, I am inherently incapable, and this is never going to change.
Oof. Hopelessness combined with helplessness. That is a devastating combination for a learner. What are the physiological implications. You said it's not just mental, it's physical.
That's right. Prolonged stress triggers the continuous release of the stress hormone, cortisol.
Cortisol. I've heard of that.
Right. And high cortisol levels are meant for short-term emergencies.
Mhm.
But chronic exposure, that can lead to some really serious health issues.
Like what?
Things like impaired memory,
Yeah.
high blood pressure, a weakened immune system, and long-term insomnia.
So it's a full body problem.
It is. And if you link your self-worth to your learning progress and then you crash, that self-doubt just compounds the emotional exhaustion.
So the goal has to be to catch those early indicators, right,
Uh-huh.
before the full system crash. What do those, like, subtle red flags look like in a real-world learning scenario,
They often show up as changes you might just dismiss as nothing.
for instance?
Well, maybe you used to love your study group, but now you feel this constant resentment about going. Or maybe your appetite changes drastically, or your sleep is chronically interrupted.
Little things that add up.
Exactly. A real-world crash happens when you constantly ignore those signs. You prioritize the external pressure, the exam, the deadline, over your internal resources.
So how do you recover?
The primary way to recover isn't just to stop studying. It's to actively prioritize joy again. Hobbies, family, play, things recharge the system.
But what if I have an exam tomorrow? I can't just book a week-long vacation right now.
Yeah.
Do the sources give any, rapid short-term coping strategies to manage a stress spike?
Absolutely. And they're surprisingly physical. They intervene directly with the physiological effects of that cortisol.
Okay.
The first strategy is movement.
Movement? But my instinct is to just lie down and stare at the ceiling when I'm stressed.
That's the fatigue talking.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to activate the chemistry of recovery.
How does that work?
Physical movement, even just a brisk 15 to 20-minute walk, is highly effective because it acts like a physical detox.
A detox.
Yes. The scientific reason is that movement helps to clear excess cortisol out of your bloodstream. You are physically removing the stress chemicals from your system, which immediately lowers the level of physiological alarm.
That is fascinating. So I'm literally clearing the stress hormone just by moving my body. What about the second strategy? You mentioned rapid temperature change.
Yes, rapid temperature change. This is a powerful neurological reset.
A reset. I like the sound of that.
If you step into a cold shower, or even just plunge your face into a bowl of cold water, the sudden change forces your body to regulate itself. It triggers what's known as the mammalian diving reflex.
And what does that do?
It immediately lowers your elevated heart rate. It provides a rapid reset to a calmer parasympathetic state. These are crucial physical tools for intervening when you feel that stress spiking.
Okay, so we have the physical tools. Now we need the linguistic tools, the high-level idioms that convey this resilient, enduring mindset. This is where we stop sounding like a textbook, right?
Exactly. And these idioms are crucial because they encapsulate these complex, nuanced emotional states in a single, memorable chunk.
Let's start with our first one, weather the storm. Now, we've all seen rain, but I know this means more than just surviving a light drizzle. How does this idiom specifically convey resilience in a way that, say, survive the difficulty just doesn't?
That's a great question. It's about sustained effort and maintaining integrity.
Okay.
Whether the storm implies dealing successfully with a difficult or dangerous period, a major crisis, while remaining structurally sound.
Structurally sound.
Yeah, it suggests maintaining professional control and stability throughout the chaos, not just hiding until it passes.
So, if a company is facing bankruptcy, they're trying to weather the financial storm. That makes sense. What's the plain English definition?
To successfully manage and navigate a very difficult, stressful, or perilous situation over a sustained period.
Let's loop through some examples. Give me 5 different flavors.
You got it. Okay, number 1, a formal example. The CEO had to weather the storm of the recession. Number 2, a casual one. I somehow weathered the storm of moving house last week.
I can relate to that one.
Number 3, a funny one. My diet had to weather the storm of the holiday buffet.
It never survives.
Number 4, historical. The small kingdom weathered the storm of early technological disruption from its neighbors.
And finally, a philosophical one.
Sometimes we must weather the storm of our own self-doubt to find clarity.
I love the range on that. Okay, let's do a little role play, an extended scenario. You're a senior manager facing some harsh public criticism, and I'm your colleague trying to keep you grounded.
Okay, I'm ready. This has been a rough week. I have never seen the press so critical of our project launch.
I know, the criticism is intense, but you've handled tougher rollouts before. How are you and the team managing to weather the storm without letting it affect the daily work?
We focused entirely on internal communications and the data. We have to maintain professionalism while weathering the storm.
Right.
That means sticking to our core strategy and showing the data, not just, reacting to the noise.
That's smart. Focusing on the facts helps. It takes a lot of mental endurance to get through something this sustained.
It does. But if we can navigate these next 2 quarters successfully, we'll come out so much stronger on the other side. We have to keep going.
I have full confidence you will. Now tell us about the common words that often appear with this phrase. The collocations.
Right. You frequently hear things like to bravely weather the storm, the political storm, or the financial storm. Also, the need to survive while weathering the storm, and that one we used. Maintain professionalism while weathering the storm.
And what's the nuance here? Where do we see it most?
The nuance is that this idiom often appears in more formal contexts, business, politics, large-scale events, because it conveys that idea of long-term stability in the face of macro pressure.
Got it. Okay, moving from endurance to optimism, we have make lemonade out of lemons.
Classic.
A very common idiom, especially in American English, but how is it linguistically different from, say, finding the silver lining?
Another great question that really gets to the nuance. Finding the silver lining is about recognizing a hidden positive aspect in a bad situation. It's kind of passive acceptance.
Okay, you just see the good thing.
Exactly. But making lemonade out of lemons is all about action and transformation. It means taking the bad elements, the lemons, and actively creating something positive, profitable, or useful, the lemonade. It emphasizes agency and an entrepreneurial spirit.
So the core takeaway is that emphasis on proactive action. What's the plain English definition?
To actively transform a bad or negative situation into a positive, profitable, or advantageous one through creativity and personal effort.
Let's do the example loop again.
Okay. Number 1, formal. After the factory closed, the town decided to make lemonade out of lemons by turning it into a tech incubator.
Nice.
Number 2, casual. My flight got canceled, so I'm making lemonade out of lemons and exploring the city for a day.
I've done that.
Number 3, a funny one. The dog ate my homework, so I made lemonade out of lemons by writing an essay about the canine digestive system.
Huh. I'm sure the teacher loved that.
Number 4, historical. During the Prohibition era, some farmers made lemonade out of lemons by selling their grapes to home winemakers.
Very clever. And philosophical.
To accept loss as a prerequisite for new discovery is the highest form of making lemonade out of lemons.
That's deep. Okay, let's role play. I'm really upset about a major setback, and you need to shift my perspective using this phrase.
Okay. I heard you lost the bid for that huge government contract. You spent 6 months on that proposal.
I know. I'm just devastated. It feels like 6 months of hard work that ended in complete failure. I don't know where to start again.
Look, you now have the most comprehensive data set and competitive analysis of anyone in this market.
I guess so.
That wasn't a failure. That was a learning investment.
But they're still bitter lemons.
I know, but you are in a position right now to make lemonade out of those lemons. Use that data. Start your own smaller, specialized consultancy. Target the companies who didn't win that contract and sell them the analysis you already perfected. That's seizing the opportunity from the rejection.
Turning the research into a new business model. I like the sound of that.
It's all about reframing the adversity into potential.
Tell us about the collocations for this one.
You often hear, to creatively make lemonade, to decide to make lemonade, life gives you lemons.
Of course.
Seizing opportunities and finding the good while making lemonade. The crucial nuance, especially in the U.S., is the emphasis on positivity in action. It reflects a cultural belief that opportunities can always be found in adversity.
All right, we've talked about enduring difficulty and seizing opportunity, but who helps us stay resilient?
Good question.
That brings us to the language of loyalty. Through thick and thin, many people just use the word loyal. Why choose this longer idiom?
Because it captures the duration and the contrast of the commitment.
Okay, explain that.
Loyal is a state of being, but through thick and thin signifies loyalty that has been tested by fire. It means enduring both prosperity, the thick, and adversity, the thin together.
Ah, so it implies a sustained, unwavering relationship across multiple
You
crises.
got it. It's loyalty proven by experience.
So what's the definition in plain English?
Remaining loyal, committed, or supportive, regardless of difficulty, challenge, or changing circumstances over a long period.
Let's get our 5 examples.
Okay. 1. Formal. The two nations remained allies through thick and thin for over a century. 2. Casual. My best friend has been with me through thick and thin since kindergarten.
That's a good friend.
3. Funny. My old car is stuck with me through thick and thin even when I forget its oil changes.
A loyal machine.
4. Historical. The soldiers stood by their general through thick and thin, from his greatest victories to his final defeat.
And a philosophical one.
True character is revealed not in moments of comfort, but in the commitment to stay through thick and thin.
Excellent. Let's role-play a discussion about a friend who really stepped up during a difficult period, maybe a big move.
Okay. I don't know what I would have done last year when I decided to move across the country. I was totally overwhelmed.
I remember that. You were completely swamped with packing and trying to arrange all the logistics.
That's where our friend Alex came in. She spent 4 entire weekends helping me pack, drove the moving truck with me, and even helped me unpack when I finally arrived.
Wow.
She didn't complain once.
That is the ultimate sign of a tested friendship. Someone who genuinely sticks by you through thick and thin like that is rare.
Absolutely. The support she showed during all the stress and the sheer physical effort of the move, she was truly there for me. It's a friendship that's defined by enduring those tough moments together.
What are the words that pair up well with this idiom? What are the collocations?
Common ones are true friends through thick and thin, to stick by you through thick and thin, partners through thick and thin,
Right.
unwavering support through thick and thin, and loyalty through thick and thin. The key nuance is that it emphasizes the tested longevity of a relationship. It's often used for close personal bonds or long-term partnerships.
Okay, we've established the mindset. Now we turn to the language mechanic that trips up, pretty much everyone. Phrasal verbs.
The big one.
Why are they so essential for fluency, and why are they so counterintuitive?
Well, they're essential because native speakers use them constantly, especially in casual speech. If you avoid them, you sound like a dictionary.
And why are they so tricky?
They're counterintuitive because, as we said, the meaning is often completely idiomatic. You can't guess the meaning from the individual words.
Let's nail the definition first. What exactly is a phrasal verb?
A phrasal verb is simply a verb combined with a preposition or an adverb particle, or sometimes both. And this combination creates a new meaning that's distinct from the original verb.
Give us that great Lego block analogy again, because that really clarifies the cognitive challenge here.
Right, so phrasal verbs are like linguistic Lego blocks. You take 2 simple common components, say the verb turn and the particle up, but when you click them together,
They make something new.
exactly, they form a complex new meaning, to appear. You have to learn that new combined structure as a single unit. That's why treating them as 2 separate words will always lead to confusion.
That single unit concept is so important. Let's look at the literal versus the idiomatic difference, maybe using a different one like switch off.
Okay, perfect. The literal meaning of to switch off the lights is obvious. You deactivate them.
Simple.
But the idiomatic meaning can be different. Like if someone is talking too much, you might think, I wish I could just switch off and stop listening. It means to stop paying attention. It's a mental action.
And let's go back to your original example. Turn up.
Sure. If you say to a friend, I'm relieved you finally turned up to the party means I'm glad you appeared. There is no physical turning or rising implied. It's a pure idiom.
So you have to memorize that turn up is a single concept meaning appear or arrive.
Exactly.
But memorizing endless lists is what leads to burnout in the first place.
True.
We need automated techniques to speed up the process and bypass that slow, conscious translation loop in our brains. Let's start with chunking.
Chunking is the critical cognitive technique. It's the practice of memorizing and producing these high-frequency, multi-word phrases, lexical bundles, as single automated units. This is how native speakers achieve their speed.
How does that actually reduce the cognitive load for an intermediate learner? I mean, how does it make it easier?
The analogy helps here. If you need to build a house, do you go out and find every single screw, every board, every nail individually?
No, that would take forever.
Or do you start with prefabricated walls? Chunking provides you with those prefabricated responses.
Ah, I see.
Instead of your brain trying to assemble subject plus verb plus preposition plus adjective every single time, it just pulls a single ready-made block like, I look forward to hearing from you.
It drastically reduces the calculation required in a real-time conversation.
It does. You move from individual word processing to block processing.
You mentioned an even more advanced technique, thought chunking. What is the specific job of a thought chunk?
Right. Thought chunking is what separates advanced listeners from intermediate ones. It's the process of organizing a long sentence into manageable, meaningful groups by identifying the words that carry the primary meaning.
And how do you do that?
Crucially, this centers on listening for and stressing the important words in the sentence.
Wait, you're teasing the pop quiz answer again. So why is listening for the stressed word the absolute most important part of this technique?
Because English is a stress-timed language.
A stress-timed language, what does that mean?
It means native speakers emphasize content, words, nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and we swallow or reduce the function words.
Function words like
articles, prepositions, conjunctions, the little grammar words. If you miss a, the, or of, it honestly doesn't matter.
Really?
Really, because the meaning is conveyed by the stressed content words. Your ability to understand rapidly improves if you train your ear to ignore the small, reduced words and focus only on the stressed, meaningful ones.
So you're listening for meaning, not for grammatical perfection.
Exactly. It completely flips your attention away from that constant translation anxiety.
That is profound. Okay, now for the second technique, shadowing. How does this help with the physical muscle memory of speaking?
Shadowing is an active physical training technique. You listen to a native speaker and you immediately mimic the audio, synchronizing your voice with theirs as closely as you possibly can.
So it's not just listening and then repeating it later, it's simultaneous repetition.
Precisely. You are training your mouth and your throat muscles to mimic the native speaker's specific pronunciation, their rhythm, cadence, and tone.
Give me an analogy for that.
Okay, the analogy here is excellent. Shadowing is like learning a dance routine by simultaneously moving exactly when the instructor moves.
I like that.
You're forcing your physical speech apparatus to learn the musicality of the language. This develops physical fluency alongside your cognitive fluency.
If I'm feeling tired, which connects back to our burnout discussion, how can I make shadowing productive without it becoming frustrating?
Great question. Don't push yourself with overly complex or fast material when you're fatigued.
Okay, so what should I do?
First, choose material that is inherently interesting to you, a fun blog, a favorite TV show, something that maintains that intrinsic motivation we talked about.
Right.
Second, make use of audio speed controls. Most players have them now. Slow the audio down slightly.
Ah, that's a good tip.
This keeps the practice accessible, it prevents frustration, and it ensures you're building good physical habits rather than forcing your tired brain to keep up with an impossible pace.
Okay, let's build out that phrasal verb toolkit now. Let's start with words for analysis and stability.
Let's do it.
We introduced the idea of analyzing sources in great detail. The two phrases we have are dive into and delve into. They both mean to examine closely, but what is the crucial nuance between them?
The key distinction is formality and the depth of commitment.
Okay.
Both imply a deep, intense examination, much more than a simple look at. However, delve into carries a slightly more academic, serious, or formal weight.
And dive into.
Dive into is more common, it's more versatile, and it's often used to convey enthusiasm about beginning a new activity.
So if I'm analyzing a complex government report, I delve into it. But if I'm starting a new hobby, I dive into it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
The definition for both is to start examining or investigating something complex thoroughly and intensely.
Let's loop through 5 examples for these.
Okay. 1, formal, using delve. The committee must delve into the financial reports.
Right.
2, casual, using dive. Let's dive into this pizza.
Ah, yes.
3, a funny one. I had to delve into the mess under my bed to find my other sock.
A true investigation.
4, historical. Historians delve into ancient texts to find clues about the past.
And finally, philosophical.
To truly understand ourselves, we need to dive into the ethical implications of our choices.
Great. Let's role-play a research discussion where we need to commit to some deep work.
Okay. We've hit a wall on this project. The surface-level data isn't giving us the answers we need.
I agree. This requires more than a casual review. We need to block out the rest of the day and truly dive into the numbers.
Specifically, I think we need to delve into those qualitative reports from the third quarter. They're complex, but the details in there might hold the key.
Perfect. We'll delve into the fine details then. Intensive analysis begins now.
That's the kind of commitment required. For collocations, you'll hear. Dive into data, delve into details, delve into reports, dive into research, and being eager to dive into a project. The nuance is primarily that formality level.
Got it. Now, moving from intense analysis to achieving stability, we have settle down. We establish that this is more than just telling a child to calm down. What is that broader meaning of organization and stability after chaos?
The deeper meaning is establishing permanence or stability after a chaotic, agitated, or transitional period. It can be used for people, situations, or even large systems.
So if I say a child needs to settle down, does that imply they need to establish a long-term routine or just calm down right now? Which context dictates the meaning?
That's a critical question. It's all about context. If you use it with an individual in a moment of agitation, the kids need to settle down. It means immediate calming.
Right now.
But if you use it in the context of a location, they finally settled down in London, it means establishing a long-term, stable residence and routine.
So context dictates whether it's temporary calming or long-term establishment.
Exactly. The definition has to cover both. To become calm, stable, or organized, often after a chaotic or uncertain period.
Let's do the 5 examples.
Okay? 1, formal for a system. The market is expected to settle down next quarter. 2, casual. The kids need to settle down before bedtime.
A classic.
3, funny. My hair will not settle down this morning.
I feel that.
4, historical.
Yeah.
After the war, the region finally began to settle down.
And philosophical.
When the uncertainty of a new idea settles down, clarity finally emerges.
Okay, let's roleplay the situation of a new colleague feeling overwhelmed by a chaotic workplace.
Okay, I feel like I'm running in circles.
Yeah.
There's so many new systems and processes, I feel completely disoriented.
Hey, relax. Every new job is chaos for the first few weeks, but this is temporary.
Do you really think things will settle down soon? I feel like I'm drowning in paper.
They absolutely will. Once you find your core rhythm and you start managing tasks one by one, the confusion will begin to settle down. You'll find your footing and establish a routine. Just give yourself a few weeks. That reassurance helps. I just need to wait for the storm to subside, essentially.
Precisely. Focus on finding one small system today to help you settle down. For collocations, you'll hear. Quickly settle down, things began to settle down in a new city, settle down for the night, and the confusion settled down.
To make these phrases stick, we are going to weave them into a single flowing narrative about a professional challenge. The story of Sophie's big break.
Oh, I like this.
We'll pause at critical moments to analyze the new phrasal verbs, connecting them back to our themes of endurance and resilience.
This narrative structure is much better for retention. Okay, so Sophie had just started a new job. She was nervous but enthusiastic. Early on, her manager asked her to stand in for Tim, who had taken an emergency leave.
Okay, stop there. Stand in for, that's a common work phrase. You mentioned earlier that it's less formal than substitute. How quickly can I actually start using this phrase to sound more natural?
Immediately. It is the default conversational choice for temporary replacement. The definition is to temporarily perform the duties or role of another person. It suggests filling a temporary gap.
Okay, give me some examples.
Right. A business context. The department head had to stand in for the director during the emergency board meeting when she missed her flight.
Makes sense.
And a casual context. The bass player was sick, so an old friend agreed to stand in for him during the concert.
Let's role play a manager asking a favor for a last-minute replacement. You're busy.
Hello, this is Taylor.
Hi, I know you were already slammed, but Mark just called in sick, and the trading session starts in 15 minutes. It's absolutely vital.
Oh no, he was supposed to cover the new safety guidelines.
I know, you know the material best. Could you possibly stand in for Mark just for the first hour of the session? I can take over after lunch.
That's going to require a quick mental reset. But yes, I can stand in for him. Let me grab the slides.
Thank you so much for agreeing to stand in.
No problem at all. Collocations include stand in for a speaker, stand in for a colleague, being glad to stand in, to temporarily stand in, and needing someone to stand in. The nuance is that it's always a temporary replacement.
Okay, back to the story.
So, Sophie agreed to stand in for Tim. She quickly realized how much responsibility Tim handled. Dealing with the intense client demand and the complex data, Sophie sometimes had to work late, and because she was so exhausted, she'd occasionally drift off at her desk.
And stop. Drift off. That's such a lovely, gentle verb, but it describes a serious side effect of burnout. How is this phrase different from the blunt phrase, fall asleep?
It's all in the speed and the intention. Fall asleep can be sudden and intentional, when you go to bed.
Right.
Drift off implies a gradual, unintentional loss of consciousness or attention. It's usually due to tiredness or boredom. It's that slow, gentle movement away from alertness.
So it's often used as an excuse for accidentally sleeping during boring activities. What's the plain English definition?
To gradually and unintentionally start to fall asleep, or to lose attention and focus.
Give me a couple of examples.
Okay, a formal one. Despite the significance of the speaker, several members of the delegation began to drift off during the extremely long closing remarks.
I've been there.
And a casual one. The new fantasy novel was surprisingly boring. I kept drifting off every time I tried to read it before bed.
Let's role play that scenario. You're telling me about a movie you tried to watch, but you were just too tired to follow it.
So I put on that documentary last night, thinking it'd be relaxing, but I was so exhausted from the week.
Did you make it to the end?
No. I kept drifting off and then waking up 5 minutes later, only to realize I'd missed half the narration. My mind was literally drifting off to sleep, and I had to keep rewinding it.
That happens when the mind is fatigued. You just can't fight that pull.
Exactly. I couldn't maintain focus. Collocations include start to drift off to sleep, your mind drifting off, caught myself drifting off, and your eyes drifting off. The nuance is that emphasis on a gradual, gentle loss of consciousness.
Okay, back to Sophie.
Right. Because Sophie was exhausted and having to fend for herself without Tim's guidance, things were stressful. But she managed to get all her tasks done on time.
And stop again. Fend for oneself. This feels like a high-stakes phrase. Is it appropriate for the workplace, or is it too dramatic, like it implies true physical survival?
It is perfectly appropriate for the workplace because it describes reliance on your own efforts when resources or support are suddenly removed.
So it stresses self-reliance, not just physical survival.
Exactly, although that meaning is certainly part of its history.
So being forced to become independent, what's the plain English definition?
To take care of or provide for oneself without relying on others. To function independently when a support structure is unavailable.
Give me some examples.
A business context. After the mentorship program ended, the junior analysts were expected to fend for themselves and seek out their own solutions. In an everyday context. When I moved to a new country, I had to quickly learn to fend for myself in terms of managing finances and local bureaucracy.
Let's role play that solo trip scenario where our guide canceled and we were left alone.
Oh man, that trip to the mountains was supposed to be easy. We paid for the full service guide, remember?
I remember. And then he called 5 minutes before the trip to say he had food poisoning. We were just left alone with a tent and a map.
We had to suddenly fend for ourselves, set up the camp, navigate the unpaved trails, even cook our own meals over the campfire. It was chaos, but we managed it.
It taught me a lot about self-reliance, though. We proved we were able to fend for ourselves even when the planned support disappeared.
That sense of independence is exactly what the phrase captures. Key collocations are left to fend for oneself, learn to fend for oneself, able to fend for oneself, fending for the family, and fending for himself in a new environment.
Okay, let's continue with Sophie's story.
Despite Sophie's hard work, the complex project details had accidentally stirred up some confusion among the clients. Sophie spent hours clarifying the points, but at least the team supported her. One day, her colleague told a ridiculous story about a meeting, and everyone started to crack up. Sophie felt much better seeing the humor in the situation.
Ooh, a 2-for-1. Let's tackle stir up first. I know this usually refers to negative consequences. Is there any way to use it positively?
It's almost always used to imply provoking trouble, controversy, or strong disruptive emotions. So yeah, it's usually negative. The definition is to cause strong feelings, trouble, or excitement in someone, usually with disruptive consequences.
Got it.
A
Examples.
formal one. The new zoning proposal stirred up a great deal of public controversy.
And a casual one.
The politicians' off-the-cuff comments accidentally stirred up trouble with the opposition party.
Let's role play a scenario about a miscommunication that caused organizational confusion.
Did you see the client responses to the new product announcement?
Yes, our phrasing was terrible. We accidentally stirred up massive confusion about the delivery dates, and now everyone is calling.
We need to send out a clear, simple clarification immediately. Otherwise, this is going to stir up a permanent loss of confidence in our team.
We have to be careful not to stir up any further misunderstandings with our next communication.
Agreed. For collocations, think of stir up trouble, stir up emotions, and stir up controversy.
Okay, now for the contrasting verb from the story, crack up, which is entirely positive, referring to laughter. The challenge here is the conflicting meaning. It can also mean to have a nervous breakdown. How do we know which one is meant?
Context is everything. In casual speech, if it follows a story or a joke, it means to burst out laughing very hard or uncontrollably.
And the other meaning?
If it's used in a context of high stress, it can mean a psychological breakdown. For example, if he keeps working 80 hours a week without rest, he's going to crack up.
Got it. But let's focus on the funny side, that moment in Sophie's story.
Laughter is crucial for resilience.
So when our colleague Sarah made that ridiculous typo in the official report, the one where she wrote client as clown, I immediately started to crack up and couldn't stop.
Me too. I had to walk away from my desk because I couldn't stop cracking up at the mental image. It was so unprofessional, but so necessary for stress relief.
It truly helped us weather the storm of that week.
It did. Collocations for laughter are make someone crack up, couldn't stop cracking up, and crack up laughing. The nuance is that it's very informal and high energy.
Okay, let's finish Sophie's story.
Finally, Sophie's manager, recognizing the complexity of the procedures she had inherited, was very persistent. He kept repeating the core safety instructions, saying, I need to drum this into you because these procedures are non-negotiable.
And stop. Drum into. That's a powerful image. It suggests instruction that is essential, maybe even forceful. Does it imply that the learner is slow, or that the knowledge is just really complex and must be automatic?
It emphasizes the persistent action of the teacher and the importance of the knowledge becoming automatic, like a constant beat. The focus is on the necessity of repetition, not necessarily the slowness of the learner.
So it's about foundational, non-negotiable knowledge. What is the plain English definition?
To teach something persistently by frequent repetition until it is fully remembered, automatic, or deeply ingrained.
Give me a couple of examples.
A formal context. The importance of digital security protocols must be continuously drummed into all employees in the finance division.
Okay, and another.
A philosophical context. The concept that consistency beats perfection must be drummed into every student attempting to master a difficult skill.
Let's role play the trainer and new employee scenario for those complex safety rules.
Okay, I see you're struggling with the emergency shutdown list. It's long, and the sequence is tricky.
I just can't remember the last 4 steps in the right order. I feel hopeless.
It's okay. These are mission-critical rules. They are the kind of procedures that must be drummed into us until they are reflexive. We will repeat these drills every day until you can do them in your sleep.
So no rushing the learning process.
Absolutely not. We must drum this into you until it's automatic. Persistence is the key here.
And the key collocations for this persistent instruction.
You'll hear drum into someone's head, drum into the team, drum in the importance of something, and constantly drummed into. The nuance is that it implies strong, repetitive instruction for foundational knowledge.
Okay, we've seen how Sophie used resilience and new phrasal verbs to manage her big break. Now let's return to our core anti-burnout strategy, achieving fluency through small, consistent steps. I love the quote, "Tired says rest, but done says victory."
That quote perfectly encapsulates the mindset we need to build resilience. It's about not stopping permanently. The concept is based on ancient wisdom Lao Tzu's idea that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
And Confucius.
Right, and Confucius saying that it doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop.
So we need to apply that to our study schedule. How does setting tiny goals consistently beat aiming for perfection?
It's a matter of psychological endurance. If your goal is fluency, it's too abstract. But if your goal is 10 minutes of shadowing today, that's tangible.
Right.
So consistency doing 10 minutes every day is like building a wall one perfect brick at a time. Perfection, trying to study 5 hours once a month until you collapse, is overwhelming and unsustainable.
That makes perfect sense. Tell us about Mia's story again, because it really shows the power of giving yourself credit for those small steps.
Mia was a classic example of burnout because she always aimed for these massive, perfect study sessions, and she always failed.
So what does she change?
She changed her goal to just 10 minutes a day. She finished an entire English book in a month by embracing that small, manageable win.
And there's a psychological benefit there.
Huge. When you finish that small 10-minute task, your brain registers a tangible victory, which fuels your motivation for the next day. It's about self-reinforcement.
How do we make sure those small steps are rewarding? How do we avoid learning feeling like a punishment?
We focus on 3 strategies. First, reward placement. Always reward yourself after the study is done. That creates a positive association with completing the work.
Okay. Number 2.
Second, connect language to culture. Find media, a blog, a podcast, something that is not available in your native language. This gives you a clear motivational prize, access to a new culture that only your English skill can unlock.
And the third strategy.
And third, use it. Don't wait until you're perfect. Use what you've learned immediately, make mistakes, and correct them over time. Every time you successfully communicate a sentence, even a flawed one, you get a rush of positive reinforcement.
Setting boundaries is also essential for an anti-burnout strategy. When we have to tell someone to stop working too hard, or when we advise ourselves, we need precise language. Let's dive deep into the modals of advice: should, ought to, and had better.
These modals are like traffic control for action. They are used for suggestion, recommendation, or obligation, and their strength varies dramatically, which affects your social interactions.
Give us that suggestion scale comparison again.
Okay, the scale is, had better is the strongest, emphasizing a negative consequence.
Right.
Then comes ought to, which has a medium strength and a slightly more formal or moral tone.
And the last one.
And should is the weakest. It's the most common, just a general recommendation.
Before we dissect the nuance, let's confirm the structure, which is so crucial for learners.
Yes. Remember the grammatical rule. Modal plus base verb. No exceptions.
So she should take a break, not she should take a break.
Exactly, and that applies to all 3 of them.
Let's focus on ought to first. Where is it used, and how is it often pronounced?
Ought to carries a slightly more serious, sometimes moral obligation. It's more common in British English. In casual American English, it's often slurred to sound like oughta.
And how do we use it in questions or negatives?
That's the thing. It's rarely used in questions and almost never used in the negative form in modern speech. If you hear it, it usually suggests a formal or traditional context.
Now, for the strongest one, had better. How do we use it without sounding too rude or aggressive?
That is the core social challenge. Had better is used to strongly emphasize that a negative consequence will result if the advice is ignored.
For example,
You had better not skip that mandatory safety training, or you will be disciplined.
if I told a colleague, you would better go home now, you look exhausted, could they take that as the threat?
They might, especially if it comes from someone who isn't their direct supervisor. In casual settings, it's often softened by shortening it to, "Hey, you better take a break," or even just dropping the had entirely, "You better take a break."
The implication of consequence is still there.
It is. You use had better when the situation is serious, like setting a boundary. You had better prioritize your health over this project, or you will crash. And remember, it's never used in questions.
So we use should for general, safe advice, and had better only when we need to convey seriousness and caution about a potential failure. Let's practice a quick transformation. The problem is, the team is currently ignoring the client's warning.
General advice with should would be,
Right.
the team should address the client's warning.
Okay. And the formal or moral suggestion with ought to.
The team ought to address the client's warning.
And now the strong warning about impending consequences with had better.
The team had better address the client's warning before the situation escalates.
Fantastic. Now for our final recovery vocabulary push, continuing effort and overcoming setbacks.
Let's do it.
Keep on. Simple but essential. How does this phrasal verb convey persistence in a stronger way than just continue?
While continue, or carry on, is also fine, keep on often emphasizes continuing something despite difficulty. Or sometimes it implies a repetitive, persistent action that might even be slightly irritating.
Okay, so the definition.
To continue doing something, often persistently and sometimes despite obstacles.
Let's hear some examples.
A formal context. Despite repeated objections from the committee, the senator decided to keep on championing the controversial bill.
And a persistence context.
I was ready to quit the marathon at mile 20, but the crowd's energy helped me keep on going until the finish line.
Let's role play the grammar struggle scenario.
I'm ready to quit. I just can't grasp the rule for inversion. I've tried studying it for 3 days straight.
Don't give up. The most complex grammar points are the ones you have to patiently keep on studying. Success is just around the corner.
But I feel like I'm making zero progress.
You just need to keep on reviewing the source material and eventually the pattern will click. You simply have to keep on trying. That encouragement helps.
Collocations include keep on trying, keep on going, keep on talking, and keep on practicing. The negative nuance is often in sentences like, he kept on complaining about the weather.
Okay, next up, get over. We need this one for recovery. You mentioned its versatility for both physical and emotional challenges. Why is it preferred over a simple verb like recover?
Because recover is often strictly physical. Get over covers physical recovery, like getting over the flu.
Right.
Emotional recovery, like getting over a breakup, and also overcoming a hurdle or finding a solution to a problem. It's highly flexible in conversation.
So what's the plain English definition?
To recover from an illness, shock, or difficult experience, or to successfully find a solution to a specific problem or hurdle.
Give me a couple of examples.
A financial context.
Wow.
The startup took a major hit, but they eventually managed to get over the initial financial hurdle and stabilize.
And an emotional one?
It took her a long time to get over the shock of being abruptly fired, but she used the experience to find a much better job.
Let's role play the situation where I'm worried about my workload after being sick.
You sound like you're still battling that cough. Are you feeling better?
A little, but I'm terrified of my desk. I don't know how I'll ever get over the backlog of emails that piled up while I was out.
Focus on resting so you can fully get over the illness first. The work isn't going anywhere. We will help you get over the accumulated workload when you're healthy. Don't worry.
That's reassuring.
For collocations, think of get over the flu, get over a breakup, get over the hurdle, and to never get over a shock. And remember the secondary meaning of communicating effectively, as in, did he get his message over clearly?
Our final phrasal verb, come across, demands attention because its two meanings are so different. Finding something and making an impression. How do we distinguish the two in conversation?
It's pure context. If the object of the verb is a physical item, it means finding by chance. If it's a personal quality, like he came across as shy, it refers to the impression someone gives.
So what are the two distinct plain English definitions?
Definition 1 for finding. To find or meet something or someone by chance.
And the second?
Definition 2 for perception. To be perceived or to project a certain impression regarding personality or attitude.
Let's hear an example of each.
A perception context. You need to come across as confident and composed during the negotiation, even if you feel nervous inside.
And a finding context.
While cleaning the old bookshelf, I came across a photograph of my great-grandparents that I didn't know existed.
Let's role-play a scenario where we use both meanings about a new colleague.
I finally met our new intern, Sam. How did he come across to you?
He came across as very shy and hesitant in the meeting. I thought he seemed nervous.
I thought so too, initially. But then yesterday, I came across his resume by chance, and I was shocked. He came across as brilliant on paper. He was the lead on a major research project.
Wow, so he comes across as quiet, but he's clearly extremely capable.
Exactly. Don't judge a book by its cover. Collocations are come across as confident, to come across the solution, to just come across something. The nuance is just distinguishing between finding something physical and being perceived emotionally.
We've covered so much. Now let's cement that knowledge by addressing the three most frequent errors B1 learners make with this specific material.
Let's do it. The common mistake segment.
I'm ready to play the confused learner. Hit me with mistake number 1.
Okay, mistake 1 is misusing had better.
I want to give a strong warning about burnout. Can I say, she had better to take a break because she is exhausted?
That is the #1 mistake with modals. Remember, modals are unique. Had better is always followed by the base verb without the to.
So the correct phrasing is?
She had better take a break. Adding the to destroys the structure. Always use the base form.
Got it. What's mistake number 2?
Failing to use phrasal verbs idiomatically.
So I'm trying to sound clear and formal. Instead of the idiomatic, I came across this photo, I just say, I found this photo. Isn't using the simple word more precise?
While found is precise, in casual conversation, native speakers gravitate toward phrasal verbs like came across or turned up. If your goal is to integrate into conversational English, you must embrace phrasal verbs.
Why?
Avoiding them makes your speech sound stiff, formal, or even overly cautious. Idiomatic language is the key to natural, fluid speech.
Okay, and mistake number 3.
Treating phrasal verbs as separate words. It's a chunking error.
We talked about chunking, so if I hear the idiom through thick and thin, and I understand the individual words thick and thin, why do I still not understand the overall meaning of loyalty?
Because you failed to process the phrase as a single chunk. The meaning of unwavering support is stored in the entire phrase, the chunk, not the individual words. If you translate word by word, your brain gets stuck on the literal meaning of thick and thin texture, and you miss the high-level idiomatic concept. Chunking forces your brain to register the whole meaning at once. It's the only way to decode idioms quickly.
Okay, it's time to lock in those concepts. It's quiz time.
All right, listeners, you can play along. Question 1, fulfilling the teaser from the beginning.
I'm ready.
In thought chunking, what is the single most important word you should listen for in a long sentence to grasp the main meaning?
It's the stressed word. That's the one carrying the content.
Absolutely correct. Question 2, which modal of advice is the strongest? The one that warns of a negative consequence if it's ignored.
That would be had better.
Excellent. Question 3, which phrasal verb means to teach something persistently by frequent repetition until it is fully ingrained?
That is drum into.
Perfect. You successfully drilled that knowledge into yourself. And finally, question 4. Which idiom is about taking proactive action to turn a major setback into a positive opportunity?
Make lemonade out of lemons.
4 out of 4. Fantastic job. You have successfully mastered the content on resilience and advanced fluency techniques.
Let's quickly summarize our top concepts and vocabulary for everyone listening.
Great idea.
The top 3 concepts we covered today were 1. Chunking for fluency, training your brain to memorize high-frequency phrases as single automated units.
2. Consistency over perfection, adopting that small steps philosophy like 10 minutes daily to fight burnout.
And 3. The modals of advice mastering the suggestion scale of should, ought to, and had better to give precise advice and set boundaries.
And our top 5 words and phrases for building endurance and fluency today were
1. Drum into.
2. Crack up.
3. Weather the storm.
4. Stand in for.
And 5. Settle down.
A powerful list.
Now for your micro challenge. We want you to use the phrase get over in a sentence about a specific grammar point you found difficult this week. Use it today, write it down, say it out loud, or share it with a friend. Commit that phrase to memory by using it once today.
That's a great application challenge. And remember, if you found this deep dive valuable, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Global English Podcast. We are here to make complex English simple and clear for you.
I'm Jordan. See you next time.
And I'm Taylor. Bye.
Bye.
And remember, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done.